looking for love in all the wrong places, and there's this man in uniform. I was, let's see, 22. He was 31, I believe he was. He said, "Where have you been hiding?" I said, "Oh, I've been around. What's your name?" Anyway, he turned out to be the provost marshal, which is like a military policeman. He said, "Well, I'd like to ask you out." I said, "Well, what's a guy like you still being single?" He says, "No, I'm divorced." I said, "Oh, okay. They will tell you anything. Anything.
Say it again.
And they will tell you anything, but the girls will tell guys the same. It's not always the girls getting told this. The guys get a bad rap too sometimes." Well, I'm just having a nice time thinking I'm with this divorced man. He's awful cute, he's fun, he makes me laugh. So we end up, y'all know, went to bed with him. They call it sleeping together, sex, whatever they call it. Well, anyway, first time, I got pregnant again. Now, am I fertile or what? I mean, first time! First time! So I just fertile. And I was sure he was going to stand by me and tiptoe through the tulips with me and be there by my side and help me raise this baby. No. Because when you tell guys, a man, it doesn't matter whether they're 17, 31, 40, 50, I think they stop at age something. They just kind of, "Well, you can't be pregnant." Well, I am. I probably should have told you this, but I have a wife and 3 other children. But you told me you were divorced. So the guilt comes swarming in again. I'm just not a good judge of men. Or I wore a shirt that said I'm easy or something. I don't know. Take me, please. I don't know. But, I mean, his whole personality changed from being that happy-go-lucky, smiling guy. And so you just going to have to get rid of it. I said, "I'm not going to get rid of her. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" So I went knocking on his door at Ben Hill to see what he was going to do about this situation. Do you know how hurtful that was for his wife to be standing there next to him? And him say, "I don't even know who you are, ma'am." Well, if I had had an ounce of in me back then that I have now, oh, I think I'd have put the hurt on him. But I was so hurt myself. "You don't know me? You don't know me." Be careful what you fall for. Because all the glitter is not gold.
That's good.
I believed everything he said. I hung on to every word because I really wanted to feel loved. But only when I knew that Jesus was the one that really loved me. And I didn't learn that till later in life. Because I kept on the same pattern. And even though when I was in sin, there was always somebody with me. I knew that there was somebody with me. I felt their presence with me no matter what I was doing. That was always, and I know that was the Holy Spirit with me at that time. So I go on and give birth to Tracy, who is now 40 and a vet tech in this town. She don't love me. She don't like me. Oh well. I got stronger with my relationship with the Lord, and she says I was never a mother to her either. She remembers when I left them. And, you know, be careful. Your kids watch everything you do.
Oh, yeah.
And she tells me I'm not much of a mother. And if I'd been much of a mother, I would have tried to take control of her when she was out doing those things in the teen years. When I was working night shift, you know, at the hospital. So she was sneaking out and doing all kinds of things. And it was just a couple months ago, I was trying to explain something to her. She said, look, and every other word that comes out of my daughter's mouth is F. F. That's her. I think that's her favorite word. I don't know how she holds a job, if that's her favorite word, but you weren't an effing mother to me then, so don't try to be an effing mother to me now, you sick old woman. And I remember breaking down and crying and saying, I could have talked back to her, I could have said anything, but I didn't. But I said, God, I thank you for saving her. I thank you for someday saving her. I thank you that you're going to put Christian people in her path and lead her to the Lord. Because you know it's hard to lead your own family to the Lord.
Come on. Come on, that's good.
I said, I know she's going to get saved. Because Acts 16:31 says, if I believe and serve you, you're going to save my household. And she's my household. And no matter how ugly she's been, it might be a week ago, but she'll call or she'll text me. Never calls, text me. Mama, do you have $20 you can give me for gas? It's real easy for me to text her back and say, do you know how you talked to me the last time? I said, sure. Where do you want me to meet you? Because I can't stand the thought of losing one of my children and the last thing I said to him was something negative. You know, I wanted to always be on right standing. I couldn't help the way they treat me, but I felt the way I treat them. Does it hurt? Oh, by golly, yes. But I know, but I know, but I know. Did I tell you I know? Down in my knower, I know she's going to be saved.
Amen.
I know my son is on his way. I know, but I know, but I know. And that comes from your faith walk and believing that God is the God of the impossible, like Michelle sang at the Christmas. There's nothing too difficult for God. And I don't know how it's going to happen. And sometimes when she calls me those names, I say, oh Lord. But I know I'm not going to think that something would happen to her and she'd leave this world and the last thing she heard from me would be something ugly. More guilt. More shame. So moving right along, so she's 40. And I'm going to interrupt in just for a minute and ask people if on the road, a lot of you travel the road to Winchester, there are 4 crosses on the road. Did y'all see that when you almost get into Winchester? Do you know the story behind those 4 crosses? 1992. There were 4 kids. They weren't kids, they were 21, let's see, 23, 22, 19, and 21. And they'd been out in a night of partying. The one little girl in the back seat used to be a youth leader at First Assembly of God Church, and I don't know, Angela, if you remember or not, the Wines family. Love the Lord with all her heart. But they were not out living for the Lord. She kind of got attracted to this cute, nice, tall guy named David Campbell. Then Michael Cooper in the front seat, this all happened in 1992, was with Tina, and they'd been over in West Virginia drinking, strip bars, They've been shacking up. They've been in motels. They've been in back seats. They've been everywhere because, David was really easy on the eyes. And for whatever reason, Jennifer was just attracted to the bad boy. But they stopped in Winchester and let one guy that says, I don't want to go front row. I'm going to stay in Winchester. So they let him out at Gabriel Brothers, and there used to be a little bar. I don't even know if it's still there now. They left him right there. So they're coming on down the road. See, it used to be, there's 2 lane, it didn't used to be that way. It's because of that wreck that came that way, the way it is now. And so Michael had no business driving. He was drunk out of his mind. And they were high on this, that. Jennifer and David were in the back seat, and Tina and Michael were in the front seat. And they come around that curve, and they hit a man head on, who was on his way. I think it might have been about 4 o'clock in the morning. He was on his way to go deer hunting. And both cars burst into flames, and they died instantly in the fire. They burned up. And I kept asking myself, see, if I read an obituary in the paper, if I know somebody's died, that's always my first thought. I wonder if they knew Jesus. That's always my first thought, because heaven is real. Hell is real. Hell is hot. And that's all I could think about. That's all I could think about. I wonder if she had time to call on his name. I wonder. But I guess the moral of the story is, because I was a praying mother, the young man they let out in Winchester was my son. And he suffered survivor's guilt, was one of the other things he suffered. He said, Mama, I should have been with him. Wasn't meant to be. You got to pray in Mama. Why'd they have to die? Don't talk to me about a God that'll take away my friends. This is not God.
That's right.
Satan is the God of this world. I want you to know, if you don't remember anything I say, I want you to know this. The devil hates you.
That's right.
He hates you, and he'll go after you with anything he can. Because you see what? He knows where he's going, and his job is to take as many people with him as he can.
That's right.
And he is, in the Bible, he's called the Father of Lies, the Angel of Light. And he'll make things look so good. That's why it's important that you know when God sends somebody and when Satan's throwing them darts at you. And it took me still a long time to learn. So he had survivor's guilt, and if you look at them crosses, they have their names on them. Michael Cooper, I can't remember Tina's last name, David Campbell, and Jennifer Wines, and that was in 1992. She was a little spitfire, she was a little cheerleader, she was absolutely beautiful. But I wondered, and her parents, you just don't know. We can't judge, because God does the judging. But you gotta know where your heart is in case something happens, because you just never gonna know. But my son was spared. And I'm ever so thankful, because he would have burned right up with him. All those years I prayed that I never thought nothing would happen. He was covered by grace. Moving right along, on down to my daughter found her father. She went looking for him. He slammed the door in her face. And she said, but you're my father. My mother said you were. He said, your mother wasn't nothing but a tramp and a whore and slept with everybody at Ben Hill. Sorry to use that word, but that's what he said to my daughter. And my daughter come back and said, Mama, are you sure he was my daddy? Yes, I'm sure. But I forgave for the things, because God will bring back to the remembrance. Never avenge yourselves.
That's right.
never avenge yourselves, because vengeance belongs to God, and I don't want to see anything happen to him or anything. But I totally forgive him. I was in the wrong, he was in the wrong. I have total forgiveness for both the fathers for what they did. And I was hanging around with the wrong people, and I want you to get that message too. Watch who you hang around with. Encourage one another, win the lost at any cost. Your goal is to be on fire for God, working for God, helping the orphans and the widows. You be going about doing your Father's business, because you don't know when he's coming back to get you. So that's what you got to be on fire for God. And you can't serve two masters. That's right. One of my favorite scriptures, and I'll get to that in the end, is Jeremiah 29, 11 to 12. And it says, I know the plans I have for you, for hope, for a future. But then there's another part of that scripture that says, you will seek me and you find me. You will find me. When you search for me with all your heart. You can't have one hand in the world and one hand on Jesus. It don't work that way. It just don't work that way. So I'm still seeking love in all the wrong places. Excuse me. And so I go on to nursing school at the University of Virginia, and I was on the pediatric wing, and there was a little boy there who wanted to be a wrestler. Well, I'd never had anything to do with wrestling. And the wrestler's name was Greg Valentine. And he had, you know,
The Hammer.
oh, the Hammer. He was called the Hammer.
That's right.
Yeah. And him and Ric Flair were having a match that night, and this little boy was dying of leukemia. And I saw, and his whole room in his hospital was just pictures of Greg Valentine. That was just like, I said, okay. And I told his parents, well, they're wrestling here at University Hall tonight, so I'll go down. Thank you. I'll go down and see what I can do, see if I can get him to come by and visit. I go down and I'll talk to a referee. He said, well, I'll see what I can do, ma'am. So I get a ticket and I sit there and I'm watching these fools bounce off the... I can say that with a... Okay. Fools bouncing off the ropes and Ricky Steamboat. Probably y'all wouldn't know some of the wrestlers that I knew because they've either killed themselves or something. But anyway, so I sit there and I'm watching. What are they seeing this stuff? Bounce off the rope. But anyway, there was a peck on my shoulder. It was a referee. He said, can you come with me, ma'am? I said, what did I do? He said, take you back to the dressing room. To the dressing room? It's okay. I mean, there wasn't people running around. It was just, she took me back there and introduced me to Greg Valentine and Ric Flair. And they said, we heard your story. Now, back then they were known as the dirty wrestlers. But the dirty wrestlers were always the nicest ones, I thought. But just so y'all know, when they get in there and beat themselves up in the ring, they all get on the same plane and go home, okay? They're all friends. I know who's married to who, I know who's the brother to this one and that one, because I knew them all. And he said, I don't think I can make it. But Rick says, I can. Big deal, they were nothing to me. I was just like... So Rick did go to the hospital and visit this little boy. It was absolutely wonderful. And I wasn't a full-fledged, was I a full-fledged nurse or was I still in nursing school? No, I was a full-fledged nurse then. And Rick said, here's some tickets. We're going to be such and such, and I believe it was someplace in Richmond. I traveled all over. I went to North Carolina. Because I really got into it. I was like, they made me feel really good. It was just men and power. And, oh, all the glitter. I thought it was gold. All of it was not gold. So I went to a wrestling match. Got hooked real easy. Went to the bars. I did the wrestling scene. I hung out with all the wrestlers. I got into a world where I knew somebody was still with me. But y'all know God is not going to come down and slap you in the face and say, here I am.
Right.
You have to make that choice to reach out to Him. Well, you got to understand, I was looking at some good-looking guys with muscle, and they were fine. Don't go by the looks.
Come on.
It's what's inside that counts.
Amen.
So anyway, to make a long story short, I got involved in the wrestling world. I traveled. I went to matches. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're this, you're that. Really? Yeah. And I was just continuing my little spiral into the sexual part. Because I still wanted to feel love. Don't go by your feelings. That wasn't love. And there is a difference between sex and love.
Oh, yeah.
Big difference, okay? And there was many I was with. Many. It's not a proud thing to have to talk about, but these days, when you know that you're having sexual relations with somebody, or you're sleeping with them, or whatever it is that y'all call it these days, these wrestlers go from town to town and have sex with all different kinds of women. But I was made to think that I was special. I was special, all right. Believe anything they tell you, honey. So, the party scene, the drinking scene, I learned to drink. And the only wrestler I can tell you that ever scared me really bad was Andre the Giant. No, I did not. I want to make that clear. No, I did not. I never got that drunk. Okay? No, this man had hair right here, loaded with money, and I can just remember his flowered shirts and his checkered pants. And he wore a size 26 shoe that way. And we were all sitting in the bar there, and we were all in a circle. Ric Flair, Paul Jones,
Oh, yeah.
Andre, my girlfriend Debbie and I. Because she was